Now, before we get into the video, if you would like to join a group of like-minded individuals, people who are serious about making money in the short term and in the long term, then join the private group. Now, the results do speak for itself. In the last 2 years, we've made hundreds and hundreds of X's on long-term and short-term investments. And I have made multiple people millionaires in my private group. However, I do also have a free Telegram group. All the links are in the description. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to let you guys know this is a conservative list. Now, I can be moon boyish and start giving, 50X's, 100X prediction across the board. However, I just don't think that is responsible because some people might take this literal and hold all the way to the 100X and you just get dumped on and become a bag holder in the next bear market. So if you're conservative, that way at least you're guaranteed to make money in this bull run. So for that reason, I like to give conservative price predictions. Now, the first token on the list is Bricken. Now, Bricken is backed by the Spanish governments. That is one of its unique features. And when they originally launched, they kind of aimed to tokenize audits only. However, recently they've kind of branched out and kind of aimed to tokenize a little bit of everything from the real estate, luxury goods, etc. They've won multiple awards as well, which is one of the key features. The market cap is fairly low. If they can get a few decent exchange listings, it could push for 50x. However, I think a 30x for this project is conservative. The CEO is quite capable. I had an AMA with him. Now, BSD, unless they, the only thing I don't like about this project, it didn't really perform in the last RWA pump, and the team kind of lacks marketing. When the team doesn't really want to market a project, it's just not going to perform, no matter how good the project is. And this is what we've seen with BSD. For that reason, I just don't think it's going to perform as well as I thought it would originally. I would put this in the 10 to 20x category. Now, marketing is very important when it comes to crypto. If you market your project, it doesn't matter how good the project is, even if it's an average project, it will perform better than a very good project if they don't do no marketing. If they can market well enough, it could push for a lot more. This is why in crypto, marketing is very, very important. BSD lacks that factor. This is why it won't perform as well as, some of these other projects. We've already seen it. In the last RWA pump, they barely did like a 5 to 6x. A lot of people was predicting to do this really well because they've actually, they tokenize around the world with real estate. So they are being used. But because they don't market it well, they just won't perform. Now, Centrifuge, I would say 10x, max on a card, like 200-300 million in market cap. They've already got decent exchange listings. What more can they do realistically? There isn't a lot of hype factor behind this project unless one of the big institutions, start using them to tokenize. It's not going to do anything more than a 10x. I would put it in this sector here. I think a 10x is possible for this project. Same thing with Chainlink. Although they're a very good project, JP Morgan, some of the other big banks are using them now to tokenize. But because of the market cap, is it really going to do anything more than a 5 to 10x? I don't think so. Credify, unique staking and lending in RWA is very unique, has run significantly, done about 30x for my private group. There is a lot of early investors in this project that's still holding. Another 15 to 20x for us is ultimately like a 2 to 300x gain. So there will be a lot of selling pressure in the bull run. For that reason, anything more than a 10 to 20x will be hard for this project, unless they get some tier 1 exchange listings, which I highly doubt. Same thing with GFI, right? It is backed by Coinbase Ventures. However, that catalyst has already been used because they're already listed on Coinbase now. These exchange listings during the bull run can make a project pump significantly. So unless these guys get something like a Coinbase or Crypto.com, I just don't think it's going to perform as well as most people think it will. Although the APY is good, although the concept is good, you stake your USDC and then these USDC gets lent out to real companies in the real world. They use it for whatever, and then you get APY, interest for those, I think it's 24 months generally lock up. So in those 24 months, you get like 16, 17%, whatever they offer. By, it's like a bank. The way it works is like a bank. Your bank, the bank offers to keep your money safe, but then what they do is they lend your money out to other companies. This is what GFI basically does in the crypto world. However, as an investment, I just don't think it's going to do anything more than a 10x. I think a 10x is possible for this project, possibly a 12x, just because it's backed by Coinbase Ventures. There's a little bit of trust. If institutions come into it, there's a little bit of trust there. Truflation, one of the better projects, a new project I would say that's on the list, because what it aims to do is, because with its deepin and AI predictions, you run the nodes, and the nodes will basically give you up-to-date information, and this is what they use to tokenize real-world assets. This is on-chain, real-world assets. It kind of covers the AI, deepin, and RWA narrative. The only thing I don't like about this is early investors are up a decent amount right now. So for that reason, right now is not worth the investment. However, if it goes lower, this could easily do a 50x, I think. It's one of those that covers so many different narratives, the AI narrative, the deepin narrative, and the RWA narrative. All those three together makes a very, very good project. And I do think, they've got a very solid team. They've got solid partnership. This is backed by Coinbase Ventures as well. However, they're not listed on Coinbase yet. So that could be a catalyst that can make this pump significantly. But because, the market cap, including the dilution, is going to be around 70 million, somewhere towards the end of 2025. So I do think, a 50x will be hard. However, a 30x is on the cards for this project. I will put this in a 30x just because it hasn't been listed on Coinbase yet. Coinbase venture coins generally get listed on Coinbase. Same thing with Binance Labs. It will generally happen because those guys are personally invested. So they will definitely list it on the exchange. HBAR, being used by BlackRock, or BlackRock have used them at least. But, anything more than a 5 to 10x for BlackRock, for HBAR isn't really realistic, is it? 5 to 10x, is, the market cap is huge for this. Same thing with Labs Group. Labs Group is a terrible project. The partnerships with Arsenal are not legit. StainX was one of the stuff that was one of the key features about this project. All of that turned out to be a lie. This is why we've seen the price of this tank significantly. And it didn't really pump when RWA pumped. That should be a sign that people lost trust in this project. I just don't think it will perform in this bull run. I would put it in this category. Same thing with Landshare, right? Landshare has been around since 2022. They've had the same 3 properties for over 2 years now. They haven't added no new properties, which just shows the team's just not doing anything. And I just think this project is ass. I would put it in the ass section. Leox is one of the better projects on this list. One of the more unique ones. Apart from just doing real estate and APY, these guys actually were aiming to tokenize luxury goods and kind of everyday goods, which is what I like about this project. It's quite unique. The only thing is these guys do lack the exchange listing. This is why it hasn't pumped that much. If these guys can get 2 to 3 decent exchanges, a 30x in the cards, maybe be even pushing for a 50x because the market cap is really low, like 6-7 million in market cap. So I do think it can perform really well, only if they get decent exchange listings. The project is really good. TrueFi, backed by Flocky. They kind of got like a weird partnership with Flocky, where if you stake, Flocky, you earn TrueFi tokens. So they kind of, if Flocky does well, TrueFi will do well because they will just market each other in the bull run. So I do think it will perform. A 20x for this project is possible. Ondo, one of the better projects, I would say, in terms of RWA, one of the most known projects. These guys have got some sort of partnership with BlackRock as well. Or I think they're using some sort of BlackRock, I think it's a stable coin, but they do have some sort of links with BlackRock. I do think it will perform. Has already performed. If you was in my private group, you would have ultimately made about 12x on Ondo. If you get another 10x from here, that is ultimately 100x for us, which is quite good for, a project of this size. So I would put it in the 5 to 10x category. I just don't think from this point on it's going to give you anything significant. Now, Mantra is one of the better projects, very unique one because we don't really have any layer 1 RWA coins. This is one of the only one, I think, possibly, from my knowledge at least. And this is why it has performed really well. If you look at the chart, this has been performing extremely well. It's been holding up fairly well as well. Nobody wants to sell it because everyone wants to keep it for the bull run. But from this point on, a 5 to 10x is possible because the market cap is too high. It's almost $1 billion market cap. How much more can this really do? MetaZero, not really worth the investment in my opinion, just because it's been around for a decent amount of time. They kind of aim to tokenize in-game assets. However, if you don't have a testnet or a mainnet, you're just a concept. I don't like investing into concepts because a concept gets boring. It's good when it first comes out. People like the idea, but if you don't follow up with a mainnet and testnet and actually start tokenizing in-game assets, then ultimately, Everyone's just going to lose interest in the project. This is what's happened to this. It's dumped significantly. It's basically back down below its all-time lows, and I think it might continue to go lower. So I just don't think it's worth the investment. Maple, Maple's a decent project. They offer some good stuff, but I just don't think it's going to perform. Sometimes a project can be good, but just not worth the investment. And Maple is one of them. A 5 to 10x is possible though. That is, what most people will get with this project. I don't think it's going to give you anything more than that. Nasdaq's terrible project. If you look at the chart, it's just been pump and dumped continuously. It pumps significantly and just comes straight back down very quickly. It's literally like a pump and dump coin, because the market cap is so tiny. It doesn't really take a lot of money to pump this, but no one wants to hold this long term. They just dump it and take profits, and it just comes straight back down to floor price. That's why I just don't think it's worth it. You can maybe trade it, but anything more than that is not worth. Alliance Block and NXRA, decent project. They've got some sort of partnership with BlackRock. I don't know how legit that is, but as an investment, I just wouldn't invest into it just because they got hacked. A lot of sentiment got ruined with this project. Alliance Block at one point was a very, everyone liked it, but after the hack, people kind of lost interest into it. And the team's not very active as well. That's why I just wouldn't invest into this project. Parcel, very good project. One of the better projects. I think it's the best RWA coin on Solana. But the only thing is the vesting schedule is really harsh. You're not going to get anything more than a 10 to 15x on this project. Maybe pushing a 20x. That is likely because the market cap is 20 million now. However, sometime next year is going to be like 100 million. This is I think by the end of the year it's going to be even heavier. But just sometime early next year is going to be over 100 million. That's why I just wouldn't invest into it. However, if you hold this token, don't expect anything more than a 10x. That's it. Just because the dilution is really harsh. Polytrade, they've got a partnership with MasterCard, which is unique. A lot of people like stuff like that. However, it has already ran a decent amount. If it does come back down to floor prices, it will potentially do another 20 to 30x. But from this point on, a 20x is possible. If they can get some decent exchange listings, it could push for more because the partnership with MasterCard is quite big, I would say. WeCoin, DGen project, like 1 million in market cap. They've recently got a Mexi listing, which is quite good because it was only available on PancakeSwap before. But moving forward, this is one of those DGen projects, high risk, high reward. Could do a 50x, could do a 20x, could do even a 100x because it's so low in market cap. If they market well enough in a bull run, it could do a 100x because it's a micro cap one. These ones, you can just put a little bit of money into it. Don't look into it, until the RWA narrative kicks off. Forget about it and then come back and might give you a 100x. You just don't know. But I would put it in a 30x category. That's a conservative. 30 million for a decent RWA project is possible, I would say. Prop Chain, I would say, is a decent project. There's so many of these, like all real estate projects. Is it going to give you anything significant? I don't think so. I think a 10 to 15x is possible for this project. It's not going to give you anything more than that. Relio is one of the better projects on this list. It's backed by multiple institutions and is being utilized. That is one of the key features. It is being utilized. 100% in circulation. I can see these guys getting at least 1 or 2 tier 1 exchange listings. I would put this in a conservative 30x, but I do think it can push for a 50x. I think a 50x for this project is possible, but just because of how good the quality of the token is. I do think a 50x is possible, but because I'm being conservative, I'll just put in the 30x. But I do think it can push for a 50x, definitely. SMT, a very unique one. It aims to bring real stocks into crypto. And I do think it has already performed really well. If you was on my private group, you would have ultimately made almost 100x on this project. But I sold after a 30x. Some people held. It is what it is. But I just don't think it's going to perform as well. There's so many early investors into this project. Hasn't really dumped like most other projects. It's holding up fairly well. I think I was buying this at like 2-3 cents. So, we're up huge amounts on this. There's too many early investors in this project. I just don't think it's going to do as well. Just, another 10x is like, 1,000x or 800x or something for most people. 20x is like 800x. So I just don't think it's going to do that well. The early investors are going to suppress this hard. Proppy, old project. I don't think it's going to give you anything more than a 10x. But I'll put in a 5 to 10x category. StrikeX, very similar to SMT. They kind of bring, stocks into crypto. maybe like 10 to 20x. It hasn't run as much, so it can do a little bit better than SMT, but I'll put them in the same category. Soil, is a very unique project, very good project, but the vesting schedule isn't the best for this project. It's not the best. A lot of the token is untracked. We don't even know where it is in the vesting schedule. That's why I just wouldn't invest into it. I do think it can still do like a 10 to 20x if you know where the tokens are going. I haven't really done that research into it to know exactly where the tokens are, but there's a big chunk of this, supply not in the vesting schedule, so we don't know where they're being used for. UXB, they kind of started off as a metaverse RWA coin. However, they've seemed to change and move away from metaverse and only focusing on RWA, which is quite good. This did make a decent amount of gains. I traded this, made like a 20 to 30x on this or something around those regions. I just don't think it's going to perform that well moving forward. It hasn't really dumped that much, which is a good sign generally. But if you're going to buy into this now, you want it to dump as hard as it can so it can give you more returns. 10x to 15x is possible for this coin, no more than that. LCX, same thing, has run significantly, around 1 to 200 million in market cap. Regulated exchange, also offer APY. It can do well because it's regulated. Institutions will get behind this. I think a 20x, 10 to 15, between 10 to 20x is possible for this project, I would say. Pendle has run significantly, already done multiple 100x's, maybe like a 5 to 10x max, that's it. Prop Base is one of the better projects, I would say, on this list. They've got some good backers, good partnerships. I do think it can do about 30x. It is one of the better projects in terms of the real estate sector in this narrative. Now, this is it for the list. Some of these are, like I said, these are conservative price predictions. Some of these, probably most of these will do more than what I've predicted. But I like to be conservative because I like to guarantee money. In a bull run, a lot of these projects might rug. Keep that in mind. So the better you DCA out, the more money you'll make. If you just hold these tokens all the way to the 100x, it is, about 90% chance that you will just become a bag holder and you will get dumped on by the smart investors. And that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe. Put your post notifications on. I do go live quite often. If you guys want to see me live, you guys ask me questions, review coins, etc. You guys can do so as well. And if you want to join my private group, the link is in the description as well for that.